Welcome to Link by Golf. I'm your host Ross McGuire. In this episode, I'm joined by Stewart Whiteford, the man behind the Talk Golf Scotland podcast and star of the World Tour of Scotland YouTube series. Despite Stewart putting himself down on his podcast every week, he has a great background in golf and won the Scottish Boys Championship in his junior days. It's fair to say that Stewart's journey has taken a few twists and turns, and as well as hosting the podcast, Stewart runs the incredibly popular Wells Green driving range in Fife. Let's hear from Stewart. Thanks for joining today, folks. I'm delighted to be joined by Stewart Whiteford. Stewart, thanks for coming on the show. Great to see you. How you doing?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Ross. I feel a bit, I've never been on this end of I'm normally the guy asking the questions, so this is a bit weird for me.
Well, you deserve attention on you, Stewart, as well. So
I'm not sure about that.
Where we start with the podcast, Stewart, is where are you from and how did you get into golf?
Well, you've listened to my brother's podcast. It's very similar, probably. We grew up on a farm, and the thing about a farm is you have a pretty big garden, so grass was abundant. So I chipped about in the garden. That was it. Chipped about with Dad's big, massive, heavy clubs in the garden. We also did a car park we did pick your own strawberries on the farm. So there was a car park that was cut grass, and that was my first driving range. And it was about 100 yards long, and hit full drivers and didn't reach the other end. I suppose that's where we started, just whack about the farm.
Brilliant. And was your family into golf before, or was it you and Peter that kind of started with it?
No, Mum and my dad and Mum. I think Mum's best you're both single-figure handicaps, maybe 6 or 7. My mum was at the best, and my dad maybe played off a 5 handicap at his best, maybe 4. Can't remember, I'm cheating him there, but yeah. So the golf was kind of they always played golf. They were into curling and other things, but golf was it was natural for me and my brother to get involved in golf with them. Yeah.
And you're a brilliant area for golf as well, up in Fife. So you've got so much golf around you as well, haven't you?
Yeah, well, we started, I suppose our first membership would be London Links Ladies, which was a little short 9-hole golf course. Played at Scooney, the local municipal, for a little while. But yeah, there's loads of golf. There were no driving ranges back then. That's kind of, happened since. But there are loads of golf courses, and it was easy to get into golf back then. It was golf back then. Junior golf was great. There was so many kids. I'm sure everybody you speak to of our kind of an age, growing up in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, would say the same thing. Junior club memberships. There was loads of juniors at every club, and our club, London Links, which is where I played most of my golf. Once I got to the age of about 12, there was loads of kids. I mean, I don't know how many, but it felt at one point most of our the juniors in our section were playing for the men's team. Everybody seemed to be playing off single-figure handicaps. So it was really competitive. It was great fun. We'd spend days down at the golf club. The whole summer holidays, be there all day. And I'm sure you've heard this from everybody. It's such a shame now, I think, that, I've got a kid of 12 years old, and it's just not there. There's no kids at so many clubs, and it makes me sad, actually. Because he still loves it, and I'm pretty sure when you get kids into it, they love it. It's just, but there seems to be this lack of juniors, so they're never going to experience what we experienced growing up. And I really loved my junior days. Those were the best days, the early days.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at my club at Colville Park, we had probably in the summer 40 or 50 people would go out and play, and you'd be playing all kinds of games. We were lucky that the course had sort of different loops you could play. You could play 3 holes, 6 holes, 8 holes, 12 up 18, and just play little games around it. And there'd be so many people around all summer. It was brilliant.
Well, that's it. And it wasn't just the golf. It was putting for 50p on the putting green. It was playing. I got really good at pool when I was a kid.
Yeah,
really, really good. I was pretty. I could play pool. Because there was a pool table in the club. But that's what we did. We ate chips, we drank Coke, we played pool, and we played golf, and we potted for money. That was pretty much our upbringing, and it was great because I golf was great for me at the time. I hated school with a passion.
Right.
I didn't enjoy school. I was pretty shy at school. Didn't have many friends really. But when I got to the golf, it was like a different life. You could, it was just great. It was just great fun.
Yeah, and I mean, you developed when you talked to you got into Lundy at the age of 12. So, what was your progression like from there when you started playing? I guess I would say more seriously after that.
Yeah, I mean, it's rungs up a ladder. I mean, my son asked me the other night, how do you become a PGA Tour player, Dad? I was like, right, well, let's start with let's start with just playing in a medal first.
Yeah.
But it's just rungs. It's rungs on a ladder. I started playing in the junior medals, then playing for the junior club team, and then you'd get asked to play in some of the men's stuff, and then you're into the county level boys, and you're off. It's just rungs up the ladder, and you just see how far I suppose you can climb before you fall off. And
Yeah.
that was the same. That was the same for me, But yeah, junior opens were great. I had my son. Sorry, I'll keep talking about my son. I had him playing some junior opens last year, and again, there's just nobody playing.
Oh wow! Really?
But and hardly anybody. I mean,
My goodness.
it's pathetic, to be honest. But anyway, I'll talk to you about that after the podcast. But yeah, we junior opens were fairly booked back then, and
You could hardly get into them all summer, virtually every day.
No, that's right, and it was just such a great way to. I've got so many friends that's when I met them in life, was through junior opens and playing at junior stuff.
Yeah, from other golf clubs as well. It's not necessarily from your own golf club. It's guys from other clubs that you would never have met otherwise.
Exactly. So, yeah, they were great days. They were great days.
Yeah, and I know in the pod the guys like to have a pop, but I do need to talk about this, Stuart. You famously won the Scottish Boys, so tell me about that week. What was that like for you?
Yeah, I won the Scottish Boys, but the year before I won the Scottish Boys. I think I was possibly probably better golfer. I don't know, but I certainly I'd lost in the semis of both the Scottish and the British Boys the previous year.
Wow.
And then the guy who kept beating me was Stephen Young from Inverarachie. Stephen was Stephen still to this day is probably one of the best golfers I've ever seen. I mean, and that sounds silly because what an amazing ball striker, but he was also a man amongst boys in that I'm sure Stephen would be shaven by the time he was about 7 years old. He was massive. But he could really play, and he kept beating me. And the next year, he had gone from boys golf, and I probably went into that Scottish Boys feeling like I probably thought I was going to win it before we even teed it up. I just thought, I'll win this. That's all I thought about for a sec. And yeah, it was a great week. These events were so big in those days. There was a room for reporters, in the clubhouse.
There
was, the reporting of these events, these national events, in papers and golf magazines was everywhere. It was in national papers, and so it was a really cool.
National papers were following it, and the reporters were going up there, and you'd read these because I never made it to Scottish Boys. I wasn't good enough as a junior. But I always loved reading the stories. I guess it's always April, right, or kind of end of March, and it's just some brilliant stories about people who were obviously doing well, and then daft stories about how they get stuck in a car, a tire burst or something. They're almost late for the tea time. All these kind of stories, but it was in a national newspaper. It was brilliant.
That's it, and those are amazing days. It's amazing that now, papers have been replaced by social media, and it should be so much easier to get these stories out. But it seems to be, we don't hear about these events nearly as much as we used to. And it should be seemingly more accessible. It's a strange thing, and but yeah, I really enjoyed. That was a great week. It was my claim to fame.
Now, where did you win? Where was it you actually played? Because it was played a lot at West Kilbride and Dunbar. Was it one of those two?
It was West Kilbride, yes.
Right.
I can't remember very many of the matches. I remember playing Johnny Sharp, who's the pro at, I'm sure he's still well, in fact, maybe he's left. He was at Carrick at Loch Lomond, and I saw him last year, and he was up there. And I played big Fraser McLaughlin, who I've heard his name on your podcast mentioned a few times.
Fraser, aye.
Yeah, it's his reputation.
What a unit Fraser is now.
Yeah, he's a big boy, but he's always been a good friend. In fact, I spoke to him. I was texting him earlier on because I couldn't remember something about what happened when we were growing up. Right. Fraser was an usher in my wedding in the end, but
wow.
played Fraser in the final, and that was I think it was 3-2 or something, but it was good fun.
Yeah, and Fraser, I told a story in the first podcast I did with a guy called Gary Dingwall, who's one of Fraser's best friends. And I remember Fraser went away to college at Midland, and I hadn't seen him for maybe a year or something, and I was in the driving range down in Hamilton, and I just heard this thing from the end of the range. I'm like, who is hitting that? And wandering down comes Fraser, just smiling. He's just smashing it at the back of the range, and you're talking, that's like 30 years ago. And he's hitting like semi kind of rubber golf balls at the back of this range. It was outrageous.
Yeah, he could hit it far. He liked to hit the ball far. That was part of Fraser's problem probably in his golf. he liked hitting it far. But no, Fraser was a good golfer, and a good friend of mine growing up was stayed with each other for a lot of events, both when we were amateurs and pros, and good fun. Probably too much fun, to be honest.
Nothing wrong with that. But then from winning the Scottish boys, Stuart, and you were possibly doing this already anyway with the results you were having, you started playing for Scotland. So what was that experience like as well?
Well, I played for Scotland. I played for Scotland boys and youth. I never played for the men's team. But yes, playing for your country was always a great honour. I was never very good at it. I don't know what it was. Team golf, I'm not very good at that. I think I'm better on my own. Wow. Yeah, I remember playing the home internationals. My first one that I played and was at Dunbar, and my partner that week was Brian Mason, who now works for Callaway, and we lost all three doubles foursomes matches, and I lost all three singles matches. I lost 6 out of 6 that week, and the week after that. What used to be the British boys was held straight after the home internationals, and so we're straight into the British boys, and I'm on my own then, and I got through the first round, and I just relaxed, and I ended up getting to the semi-finals. I lost to Stephen Young, as I said earlier, at the 4th extra hole in that match, and that just sort of proved everything. I couldn't play in a team. I loved it. It was brilliant fun, but I was rubbish at it. I don't know what it was. I've always been poor at. I think it's my brain, to be honest. But I've always been really bad at foursomes. I feel so responsible all the time. You miss a putt or you miss a green or something. It's just always been a thing I've struggled with. I think it's the hardest game in the world, foursomes. But yeah, I love playing
foursomes. It's great that I'm not hitting the next shot when I wing it in the bushes.
Oh God, I'm not playing with you. But yes. I wasn't very good at that. But no, I did. My best memory would be I remember going to Japan. We went to Japan with to the World Boys Championship, and I think we finished third. That's why I texted Fraser this morning actually. Who was in our team, Fraser? I can't remember anything. But it was myself, Fraser, Martin Brown from Montefieth, and Mark Donaldson, who from Kirkcaldy here. So there's 4 of us, and we finished third. But that was a great week. I remember beating the English, who was quite a strong team. Justin Rose would be in that team, and who else? Graham Storm, and I think they all ended up playing European Tour golf. None of us did, but we beat them that week, so that was fine.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then from there, Stuart, you went to college in the States, so I'd love to hear a bit about that and what the experience was like there.
Yeah, I was recruited at that British Boys Championship the previous year. In those days, the college coaches used to send over recruiters to pick off the boys. Right. And I was recruited by North Carolina State, and there was Augusta College, and there was another one called Wake Forest.
Oh,
And I went
yeah.
over there with my dad to visit the 3 colleges, and I was absolutely blown away by them. I just couldn't. Augusta State was great. We got the chance to play Augusta every year if you'd gone there, but
Uh-huh.
but it was a small town kind of
Yeah.
school. So I ended up choosing North Carolina State. I just thought it was amazing. The way they do sport over there is just on a scale that we just don't understand over here. I just loved it. Having said that, I only stayed a year.
Right.
I think I probably, looking back on it, I should have taken a year off after school before I went over just to grow up a little bit and stuff. I
Uh-huh.
was quite young. I was 17. But yeah, I went over there. It was a brilliant year. I still look back on it as one of my best years of my life. And yet I left for reasons you know better than me. I don't know. I was just an idiot. But yeah, the tournaments were big. We're flying about the country. There was a couple of tournaments on live television. It's just different
Wow.
over there. It's great. So any kid that's ever got any intention or ideas of becoming a pro have to go over there. It's on a different level.
Yeah, and you play with some amazing players. I know you've had an episode with Tim Clark, and I
Yeah.
mean, what a golfer he is.
He was, yeah, when he was at college. So he went on to win the Players Championship with Sawgrass, and he was second in the Masters, and he won 2 or 3 PGA Tour events. But at college, he was a great golfer. He couldn't putt
Uh-huh.
worth toffee, though. He was a
Right.
terrible putter. He had the yips, and I think when he turned pro, that's when or certainly when he left college, that was when he went to the long putter, and his game, he started shooting well under par every time. But he was, Tim was a great guy and a really good golfer. He's got an injury now. He doesn't golf anymore. I suppose he's old.
Oh,
We're all
really?
old now, but
Aye.
yeah,
That's a
he was
shame.
good.
He's such a good player as well.
Yeah, yeah, he was good. Just a wee guy, didn't hit the ball miles, I don't suppose, but in those days it wasn't about hitting the ball miles. But he could play. Didn't miss many greens. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
he was a well-known name on the PGA Tour, and as you say, winning the Players' Championship, what a result that was for him as well. Incredible.
Yeah, yeah. No, Tim's good. I spoke to him just recently. Yeah, hopefully meet up with him at some stage. But yes, he is. He's living. He came. I remember actually when he came over to college in the States. He came from South Africa. He didn't have 2 beans, or his family didn't have 2 beans to rub together. He couldn't even afford to go home at Christmas for Christmas holidays or anything.
Wow.
But yeah, he's got plenty of money now.
I'm sure he's not struggling now. Brilliant. So then from there, Stuart, I guess you turned pro when you came back to Scotland. Did you do that right away?
No, no. I turned pro. It was a means to, I turned pro. It was a means to an end for me. I left university in America, and then I went to university in Edinburgh for a year, which was
Okay.
Napier. I think I was doing business,
Uh-huh.
and then I left there and went to Scottish Agricultural College and stayed there for a year. So, but yeah, university and studying and stuff just wasn't for me. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I just didn't have the brain, it just wasn't for me studying. So after leaving 3 universities with nothing, I decided, what am I going to do now? And it didn't seem like a good idea to go to another university at the time. So I just spent 2 years in Edinburgh peeing against the wall, to be honest, just being an idiot. So I turned pro because, well, what am I going to do now? The only thing in the world that I knew about was golf.
Right.
So I got a job. I went to an interview and got the job at Aberdour Golf Club as the assistant pro.
Lovely
Stayed there for
place.
a
What a
year.
course that is. It's a lovely wee course.
Aberdour was a nice course, yeah. Yeah, I was there for a year before the pro left, and then I moved to Blair Gowrie to work for Charles Derney, and I was six years there, and I loved it. Blair Gowrie was just a great place, and Charles was a great guy to work for.
I've unfortunately never played it, believe it or not, but I've heard amazing stories about the place. Never been.
Yeah, I mean, two great golf courses. One really good 9-hole par 3 golf course. Just I don't know. There's something about it. It's just lovely. They call it the mini Gleneagles. You know, that honestly, if I had to spend a day somewhere, I'd go there before Gleneagles. You know, I just think it's a great place.
Yeah, absolutely. And was it from there then that you started running the driving range with the family as well at Wells Green?
Yeah. Well, I was there. I came back home when I was 26 or something. I got married, came back home, and yet I started working at the driving range. Yeah. So I'd done my thing at Blair. I'd become PGA qualified, and yeah, I suppose the next step was always going to come home. I suppose I always knew at some stage coming home was part of the plan. We've got a farm here and a golf range, and yes, that was what I did. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been up to the range. It looks fantastic. I didn't hit any balls, but it looks a really brilliant setup you've got there. It's lovely.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's changed a lot over the years, but yes, Dad built it in '95, and yes, yeah, it's grown to where it is today, and it's really popular. We've got waiting lists all the time, and it's going really well, and it's been great fun working in it and seeing that and helping make that happen, I suppose.
Yeah, and have you seen a change? I know you've got like tracer technology, and have you seen a change with that coming in? Has that helped the business at all in terms of putting that in the bays?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the driving range used to be a golf practice centre, where people would come and practice golf,
Yeah,
and it was kind of and it's changed to being almost a mini entertainment place to come. Food and beverage become really important. Um, 2000 and when we were the first in Scotland to put Top Tracer in. In those days, it was called Pro Tracer,
right.
and yeah, I was because we used to do manual games. I knew people wanted to play games on the range. We used to do a thing where they hit into like the sandpit thing and they got points.
Right.
And they loved it, but the manual work and collecting those balls and doing all that was a complete nightmare. So when Pro Chaser came along, I thought this is amazing. And yeah, since then we've added music to the bays, background music. We've also added televisions. There's Sky Sports playing everywhere, and we've got Top Tracer in every bay. And so it's now, and we serve food and drink to the bays, which all of that didn't happen before. And
Yeah.
and it definitely brings. We have just loads of young people. It's busier than it's ever been, and I'm sure every range now with Top Tracer are saying they're busy. I know they are, but we get a much more diverse sort of customer now than we ever had before. We've got groups of guys that just want to come and hire a driver and hit it as hard as they can for an hour and go home. We see families in the bays. So it's great. There's so many people that are interested in golf, and Top Tracer and changing what we're doing here at Wells Green and other ranges has really helped that. It's changed completely.
Yeah, I mean, ranges, even, I see it down here as well in southeast England, the ranges are just full of lots of diverse golfers of all kinds of abilities, which, as you said, you wouldn't not have seen before. It really was like a practice place, right? You'd see occasional people who maybe didn't play much would hire a club, but it'd be few and far between. It was pretty much serious golfers for the most
Yeah,
part, but these days it's just everybody. It's fantastic to see.
exactly. And golf's become cool. You know,
Yeah,
when I was a kid at school, I would never mention I was playing golf at the weekend. It was embarrassing. In those days it was V-neck pullover stuff, and now it's kind of cool, and going to the range is a cool thing to do. I think the next the thing that the golf clubs need to find is a way to get these people that are hitting balls at the range and loving golf to come to the golf club, and that's what's not happening just now. And we need to find some sort of solution because we've got all these people that are enjoying it, but it's not translating into joining the local club and paying their way. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, and I
yeah,
think golf clubs have got. I mean, they have got a job in their hands to I guess, change the perception for somebody walking through the door. And I reflected on this years and years ago. One of the guys I knew from my own golf club had said that the golf club we were at, oh, it's really friendly, people talk to you, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, but what if you come in from outside and nobody knew you from the days of you being a junior? Because they see you from the age of like 13. And then, when you're 20, you think, oh, everybody's in here, it's great, we're all talking, blah, blah, blah. Somebody new come into the golf club, it's actually quite intimidating, or can be, if the right atmosphere isn't in there. So I think the golf clubs do need to think about how they approach that and get people more engaged. And I'm not saying it's easy, and I definitely don't have the answers, but that feeling of walking in and there's sort of groups of people that know each other, if they don't welcome you into the place, it's really, really tough to break through that.
It is. Yeah, they do need to become more welcoming. But they also need to, I think a lot of them need to set themselves up a little bit different. God, it's not like I know all the answers. I definitely don't. But I always talk about just about every golf club you go into. Just silly things like I talk a lot about background music, and there's not a restaurant or bar in the country that doesn't play a little bit of background music, or wouldn't have the telly on, playing sport, or just those little comfort things that just take increase the atmosphere of the place, which is exactly what we're doing in the range. We're sticking the music on and playing sport all the time. But the golf clubs probably, so many golf clubs you go in, the lights are half off, there's a coffee machine in the corner, and it's quiet.
That's right, coffee machine just think, in the corner.
Yeah, aye. And the telly's off, and you're the only one in the clubhouse. God, turn the telly on, put some music on, make it feel better than this. This is horrific.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like rocket science to me. As I say, you wouldn't run a restaurant like that or a bar like that. So why are you running your sports club like that? Because that's what it is. It's a sports club,
Absolutely.
So yeah, but certainly, so these young people that are having fun at the range, they go to the golf club and the lights are off and there's a coffee machine in the corner. What are they going to do? They're going to leave.
There's a pool table these days. There's no pool table.
No, there's nothing.
To keep you there.
So yeah, the product probably needs to change a little bit. But yes, but it's changed so quickly. We had a lot of people come in. Certainly, COVID probably helped golf a little bit. Certainly, driving range golf. We've managed to keep hold of those customers since those days because they just loved it when they came in and they saw this technology and ball tracking and stuff. So yes, changed completely golf.
Absolutely. And then I'll get into the podcast properly, but you guys you're running competitions, right, for the people that come down. How's the engagement with that? Has that helped you get folks engaged as well?
Yeah, it does here at Wells Green. Yeah, it's good fun. We do this thing called the approach challenge, and if you beat any of us, you get prizes. Unfortunately, Andy's doing really crap this month, so there's going to be a lot of prizes to give out. So he needs to get his finger out. But
right.
But yeah, it is good. But there's loads of things you can do with these technology that can involve lots of people, and it's good fun. It's good fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And then taking us into the podcast. So, what inspired you? And I can't even say it. What inspired you to start the podcast, Talk Golf Scotland? If I can say it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's certainly not something we make any money off. It's kind of a hobby that we started 7 years ago now. And yeah, we sit and talk about golf every Tuesday on the podcast. But it doesn't make us any money, but here at Wells Green, it's amazing the amount of people that listen to it, customers that come in, and so from that point of view, you think, well, it's doing something. People like it. It makes them see our pros not as just stiff old golf pros teaching and giving lessons, but lets them know the guys a little bit. And so from that point of view, it's a good marketing thing. But more than anything, we just have fun doing it, and it gets quite a lot of listeners every week and every month. So yeah, we'll keep going at it until we get bored. Yeah.
And I was thinking about it, Stuart, just yesterday. Fun enough, I was thinking about why podcasts in general are really popular, and especially you guys. I mean, your podcast is fantastic, and you've got a great listenership. But I think that, and you talk about it in the pod, the pace of play. And just going back to the golf clubs, when I reflect on when I was playing, getting into kind of men's competitions at 18 or whatever, you would be round the golf course. If you weren't round in 3.5 hours, you've got the match secretary literally screaming at you, because saying, "Where the hell have you been?" So you're around 3.5 hours, you're into the clubhouse, everybody's buying a drink, everybody's having something to eat, and you're done by 4.5 hours. I think part of the issue now is you're not finished until 4.5 hours, and it's like, right, I need to get out of here. So I wonder if some of that conversation is maybe being replaced by listening to the podcast, and they hear folks just talking about some of the stuff they don't necessarily get when they're in the clubhouse anymore as well.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, yeah, the pace of play is definitely an issue. It feels like we're playing slower. I don't know the actual numbers, but it feels like we're playing slower than ever before. It feels harder to get time than ever before everywhere.
Yeah, it's really tough, isn't it?
I don't. Yeah, some of it, none of it makes sense to me. You kind of get a time, and then the clubhouses are empty. So there's something wrong there. But yeah, the pace of play. So there's nothing worse than being held up. And I talked about it yesterday. But how long it takes the pros to play, and how much attention. My kids nowadays don't seem to have attention span for anything. For watching TV. So whereas if the pros are playing at snail's pace on the telly, they're not going to sit around and watch that. Pace of play I think needs to be sorted at the top end as much as it needs to be sorted at the club end.
Yeah, and the thing I've observed, and it wasn't necessarily true years ago, is, and it's a great thing, right? You get folk who maybe played other sports and they stop playing and they start playing golf. Back in the day, there would be somebody who would at least take them aside and say, "Look, put your bag here. This is what you need to do. Don't leave your trolley that side of the green." A lot of times now I play with folk and they're leaving their bag the wrong side of the green. They're doing all kind of things apart from getting ready to hit. Whereas, as I say, back in the junior days, I mean, if you were doing any of that, you were getting slapped, literally.
Yeah,
and then folk would be almost walking off the tee. They'd be 30 yards ahead of the tee when you're teeing off if you're last to hit, and they're just bombing it down the fairway. It was crazy.
Yeah. No, that's right. But you're not allowed to give kids rows anymore. This is the problem. Because they'll either punch you or they'll tell their mum and dad, and their mum and dad will come down and punch you. So yeah, it's a funny old world, but yeah, those days when the old members were shouting at you, it was good as well. I loved it. Was
life lessons, Stuart. Life lessons.
It was, and how else are you going to learn?
Yeah, absolutely.
How else? But yeah.
So the podcast as well. You've done quite a few, but the world tour of Scotland. You're into. Mm-hmm. You've been doing YouTube for a while. So what have some of those experiences been like with the guys?
So yeah, we've done. We're actually just about to do a series. We're actually hoping to take on a proper editor instead of me, because it takes me hours and hours. But yeah, we're going to do a new series this year. But the videos are good. I mean, I've got no idea how YouTube works, to be honest. And I should know better, because I'm sure there's things we're not doing right. But we've been around. We've done 26 videos or something now. And it's great fun. And again, we get a lot of nice comments and stuff, and people seem to enjoy watching them. Normally at my expense. I feel like when I'm watching them, it's my bad shots they enjoy them the most. So I can't play golf anymore. It's just hopeless. But yeah, so we're doing a new series this year. We're gonna go to golf courses, and we're gonna break the course record. So the four of us are going to go and play wherever and try and best ball beat the course record, which sounds easier than I think it will be, Yeah, because the course records are about 10 under par nowadays. So
yeah, and then you've got to birdies in different holes, right? I mean, there's going to be common birdies between all of you, but trying to get it in every single hole ain't as easy as it sounds, definitely.
But we're going to try that, and at the same time show off the course that we're playing, hopefully. So that's this year. But no, they're good. They're good fun doing. And I'm hoping to get this editor sorted because it takes months out of my life trying to do these videos.
Okay. And then you always talk your own golf down, but what's your handicap at the moment, Stuart?
It's not a real handicap though. I think I'm still +1, but I haven't played enough. I haven't had enough cards. I kind of want. I really want to get better again. I've been trying hard this year. Been playing with my kids. That's about the only people I've been playing with recently. But I've been coming to the range. I'm hitting loads of balls. I'm desperate to get better because really for a while there, I couldn't do it. But I feel like I should still play off kind of a scratch kind of handicap, but I need to find a way to hit fairways. So it's a hard game from the trees. It really is.
Yeah, I know what that feels like. Yeah. So then, just looking at the podcast and where you guys are going beyond the World Tour of Scotland, what else you got planned this year?
Well, we're gonna we're hoping to start. We've been really lazy the last couple of years, not done very many interviews, so hope to get a few guests on. And we do that, and then we do another series where it's called Break 18. It sounds like Bryson's, but we did it before Bryson. It's called Break 18.
Are trailblazers.
I reckon Bryson saw that video of Donald playing Break 18. But anyway, so we do play that wee course at Wells Green, which is a par 3 course, and 6 holes, try and break 18. So we filmed that. So we're hoping to get the rest of us to do that, and also try and invite 1 or 2 local golfing celebrities to try that as well. So that'd be another thing. But yeah, we'll just keep playing at it and see what happens. You know, it's good fun. Every Tuesday, just talking crap. You know.
Well, I've got to say on that note, Stuart, where can people learn more about the podcast and find you?
Oh, I really bother. No, you could go. I suppose we have a website, talkgolfscotland.co.uk, and we have Facebook and YouTube, and I don't know what else we have. Instagram. I don't know. Just go and Google it. I'm better at that stuff than them as well, you know. But yeah, so but we'll keep doing it.
Brilliant. Well, listen, thanks for coming on the podcast, Stuart. Really appreciate it, and all the best for this year.
Okay, no, thank you for having me, and yes, I will be playing well, definitely.
I'm sure. I'm confident that.
Yes. All right, Ross. Cheers. Bye.
Thanks for listening again, folks. It was great to catch up with Stuart, and I really enjoy listening to the Talk Golf Scotland podcast every week. I need some help from you all. It will help me grow the podcast if you can leave a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. If you can take the time to leave one, it will really help spread the word. I'm also posting more content on Instagram. That's at LinkedByGolf2024. Please do follow the show there. Have a great day, and you'll hear from me soon.